bunnies. So I'm going to start this one, right, with an apology. I keep threatening you with I'm doing the wiring loom. Yeah. I've changed my mind again. I'm not doing the wiring loom again. The wiring loom, it's tricky, right? Well, it's not tricky. It's easy-ish, but not, if you get me. It's easy enough because it's literally all the wiring loom out to the TT. It's literally, all I got to do is run it through the bits. Right, so as you can see, I've taken the doors off because I'm a little bit plump and getting in and out the doors is hard work. Not like it's not hard enough to get in and out anyway. So I've done a little bit of measuring. I've actually fitted one door card, sort of, or one rear quarter card. I got the other one to go over there. And I've done some measurings, which is 42 up, 42 across, 42 down. And I'm working in inches because that was the closest one to the measurements. And I didn't need precision there because inches and half inch is the only one I know. I don't know the other dots. Anyway, done the measurements, which has come to 126. So I get my tube and I measure 126, which, do you know when you hate it when the tape measure does that? So I'll hold it on that end. And I'll come to this end. 126 is non-existent. So I'm going to change my mind and go for 124. Whee. I do have a bit of give or take, to be fair. So I measured from down there, which I'm putting the plate up there, so I do have that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the middle of this tube. So half of 124 is, measure half of 124, stick on there, which, quick maths, 62. So I'm going to mark 62, which is the middle bit there. I'm going to get inside the car, measure from there to there, which is still needs got bracing, which I'm going to chop out. And I'm going to look at the middle of the light, and the middle of the light is 20 and left-handed. So that's what I'm going to use for the measurements. So it's actually 41 from that to that. So that's why it didn't matter about that. So the middle of there now, I'm going to work out the measurement from there to there. The start of my bend is going to be 16. And then I'm going to get my angle meter finder. Right. And then obviously that bar across there is going to be straight. And then my angle meter finder, I'm going to work out, this is a bit hard work, the angle I want that. Yeah, I worked out from there, 16 inches across. Put the line where the line's meant to be. And it measures 30 mil further back where the bend starts. So, 16 by there, what I'd have to do is add 30 to compensate for that side, and then add another 30. And then when I measures it, it's 41, which is what the roof is. Yeah, the 41 goes from there to there. And I've test fitted there a minute, because obviously the shape of that, it comes either side of my cells. So test fitted in there, and it's bloody perfect. I'm happy with that. So now I have made, I had to hold it up, where's it gone? I had to hold it up with one hand, which was a bit of hard work. And I did draw a line somewhere. And it's gone. That's just my luck. So I drew a line somewhere. Is that it? Oh, that's it. Very faint. So that's where the next bend will start. And then I will get my bend thingy-majiggy, which is my angle finder, because that other one off Temu is just rubbish. And then what you've got to do, you've got to get the angle of what, oh shit, that's a bit tight. Get the angle of what your cage is, which is there. Go down to where you want your bend, and then work out. So the angle I know now, right, is the same as the seatbelt bracket, because it's going to be sat the other side. So I'm going to use that as the line, and then the bottom line will be sat on the floor over there. So if you line that up with that, then that is your angle, which is 140 degrees. Usually I would make a base plate for the floor, like I said I was going to make, right? So this, I don't know why they've made it so strong, but that's strong. Like, that's 3 mil there, or 2 mil. Then you got that's 3 mil. And then obviously the underneath of it. That is all connected to that bit, which is the structure of the vehicle. So it's not just a tank place. Like, I don't know why they've made that so strong, but they have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that plate. As you see, I've chopped the bolts. Ah, fuck, I was sharp. I've chopped the bolts off yet so far. So I'm going to be welding it to that. So I'm going to clean that up now. Same again on the other side. And then I've cleaned off those, cut off the bolts and stuff. They're a little bit out of shape, but that'll fill up with weld. Then you need to taper the edges. I do apologise, pardon me. Taper off the edges then, so you get in full penetration. And then weld it in, basically. And there you go. That's my hoop welded in. I actually like the shape of that. Be cool with a shape like that. So now I got to make base plates in the back for the upright, or whatever they're called. The bit that goes from there to there. So I'm going to mount it about by there. What a mess. So I cleaned off all that tar stuff, which I put on. That's just, it absolutely went everywhere. Cleaned all that up. I've weld through primered the metal bit then. And that is what my base plate's going to be sat like. So I made a template at my monster box. And I will make it out of 3 mil steel. That's the base plates welded in. Now I have made some 80 mil identical tubes. Wherever the other one's gone. There you go. So identical tubes. I'm going to fit those right in the middle. Like flipping heck, that was still hot. Like that. Obviously do some measurements. So like I said, this is a show cage, right? So I'm going to have people probably saying, yeah, you should do that all the way through. Yeah, I know what to say before I put them on. When you get your tube, chamfer down the edges, like I said, on the front ones. So then when the weld goes in there, it actually penetrates the whole metal. So that'll give you a stronger weld. Now they're welded in lovely. Good penetration too, because you can see the welds in the bottom of them. So I've measured from the centre of that pipe to the centre of this pipe. And it was 43 inches, I think it was. So I'm going to add an inch either side, so 45 inches. Just in case, innit? So I'll add an inch. So I got two lengths now of 45 inches. I always use inches if it's closest to that. But if it's closest to the other one, I use the middle. So like, yeah. So an inch is like 2.5 mil. No, 2.5 centimeters. But because it's just simple enough to measure, well, the measurements there were simple enough to get 43 inches. So then I worked out 45 inches. So now I don't notch it. So if you've got a tube notcher, this job is nice and simple for you, yeah? So all you literally do is you set that to, well, I'm doing an edge, so it's 0. Ah, just stubbed my thumb. And then you put that in, pipe in, and yeah, put the This haven't been used in a while. So you put the drill in, blah, 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 right? You know how to use a fucking tube notcher. You've got a tube notcher. So 90 degrees is it easy enough to do, yeah? From the line. If I'm doing 90 degrees from there to there, it's easy enough to do. You just get a bit of tape, mark where your starting bit is. So, obviously, like I said, I'm using the left hand's not very good, the straight lines. And then what you want to do, because it's a 90 degree, it's easy enough to divide into quarter. So you get your bit of tape, which you just put out. You find the length, the outside diameter. I'm going to say is 5.5 inches. Or I could just go that way, which would be 13.5 centimeters. That's more accurate. So then you get 13.5 centimeters and divide that by 4. So I marked that out. It's hard work with one hand, I'm sorry guys. And then you get your bit of tape, put the line back on the line, and then you have your quarters. So I'm going to have to talk over this bit because the editing bit of it deleted a lot of speaking that you needed to hear. So basically what you've got to do is you've got to get your tube like this, mark a quarter of the tube around it, and then obviously cut out that bit then with the angle grinder. Could you imagine if I was a school teacher? Like, Jesus Christ, I'm not very good at this teaching stuff, am I? So then you'll have something that looks like that. And you think, well, the pipe's not going to fit in there, is it? And no, you are right. It's not going to fit in there. So now you get your flappy disc. Get your flappy disc on your grinder and trim this edge flat. Guys, I do apologise. I'm such a rubbish teacher, honestly. So anyway, now grind the edges nice and flat like that. So now what you will have, alright, is something then which will go in there like that. And then, like I said before, trim these edges down then to make so your welds penetrate it all, and that'll be meant like that. As you see, penetration will be nice around it all, very much good. And then that should be a 90 degree angle if you do it right. As you see, it is very much good. So now I'm going to measure, well, put this in the car now because this is the easiest way. Put this in the car. Oh, fucking hell. My bad. Put it up where you want it. Oh, it's way too... How the hell did I do that? That's not 45. Alright, guys, I don't know what I'm teaching you, but the way I've done this, right? This is how I've done it, right? I'm trying to be fucking professional and stuff and trying to teach you the way you're supposed to do it. But the way I've done it, right, I will show you. I don't know why I'm trying to be someone that I'm not. This is how I've done it. So basically, I put that up there where I wanted it to be, yeah? Oh, leave it then. That up there where I wanted it to be. But that pipe then, so the bottom of the pipe, right, is on that line. And then what I done was I got my pen and marked out where it's going to be around there. So cut that out. I'm going to trim this out now to the shape, because obviously I know the top part of that cut now is in the right place. The bottom part of the cut is in the right place. So basically I just got to trim it out to the shape of a pipe now. Like I said, right, it's a lot easier with a tube notcher, because with a tube notcher, that's all you would have had to do is put it in there at the angle. You find out what that angle is. That angle, for example, is 45 degrees, yeah? You get your tube notcher then, you'll set that to 45 degrees and then drill the hole. But like I said, I'm not doing it with that. I'm doing it by eye, basically. So like I said, the top of the pipe was there. The bottom of the pipe was there. So now, you've got to round that edge just to make it nice. So I'm going to get the flappy disc back on it. and shape that up nice. So I've now got these identical, both sides, both the same angle. I've done the angle test with the little bar, and now I'm going to put these in. So that's the, say, easy part done. Easy angles in it. So this angle now, by is a more tricky angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that bottom one up with where I'm going to put that. Put that up there. Don't forget to use your line. Always use your line because it's just so much easier. And that's where the pipe is going to be. So now what I'm going to do, obviously I cannot do this with one hand. I'm going to mark around that tube. Mark around that tube and then cut that out. Took a minute to do it. Not gonna lie to you. Now I've got, it looks like a snake, but as you see the angles are not the same. So that one's by there, that one's by there, so they're not the same to go into there. So there's a lot of angle grinding in and out of the car. Is a ball ache. And I just use this then to trim it up. It's a bit bald now. But yeah, so now I line it up with that end. And then it fits snugly up there. Both sides. Top and bottom. Very much nice. And then it's the same now to do the bottom end. So the angle of that one is going to be sat where it is now. So I'm going to literally mark. Well, I have started that. So mark around that and then cut that one out. Bee! So that's the two of them done now. And that one does have a better fit on the bottom, I won't lie. Yeah. It don't matter, I can fill it with welds. The tricky bit now. So obviously they're going to be crossed in the middle. Yeah. So now I have to try and work out how to get that. So I don't want to cut the one bar and join it in the middle. What I think I'm going to do is try and make a line through the middle and weld them as across, I think. Maybe. It might just be easier to cut out a bit of pipe through the middle. That's all welded up now. So me being a professional that I am, I managed to get that perfect the first time. Did I? The first time round, where you see me doing the measurements on this side, I kind of made that one a little bit too low on the line that I drew in there. I was trying to camera it, to be fair. So what I had to do is, you can't see it now to ground it back, is I had to chop more, I think it was like an extra inch out of the top end by there so I could move this bar up. So I just welded it back in that side. I obviously need to clean it off a little bit more because you can still see a little bit of weld there. And I'm also going to clean the welds up to make it look like it's all one piece. Well, I think. Or I might just gusset it. That's my cross brace all welded in nice. So now I have a roll cage. No side to side movement. Absolutely solid. But I'm still going to add more because I'm me. I didn't show you these bits. These are an afterthought. So I done these first. So I got this one by here and that one over by there. I like them. I don't know whether now to put this in. But I'll be honest with you, right? I fell over just now. Pardon me. And I bashed my head about by there. And I got a hell of a lump on the side of my Swede now. Really hell of a lump. And it's hurting. So I can't even think today now of where to put that and what to do. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to have an early night and come back tomorrow because I'm hurting. So I will see you tomorrow. Well, that was the best sleep I ever had. So I left you at like 4:30 yesterday, didn't I? I went home. I was in bed sleeping by probably about 5:15. And now it is 10:42. I just come through the door of the unit. I proper donked myself. I'll explain how that happened. Cage needed a little bit of tweaking yesterday, right? That bit was slightly further forward than this bit was. So I got the ratchet strap. I put the ratchet strap about by there and to there, and I was proper pulling on it, right? Proper pulling, because yeah, you're trying to bend that with a ratchet strap. And then I smashed my head right by there. Full force, clonk. So that's why I welded that tab on by there, as you see, to stop it falling down again. But after that, I was mashed. Honest to God. I think I literally KO'd myself. So today now, I come with a fresh head. Well, half of head, I think. And I'm going to try and get that in. Do you know what, right, actually, even though that looks pretty, like that, but there, I think I'm going to leave it without that, because I'm not sure whether to put a harness bar in there, even though I'm using the standard TT seat. So what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to end the video by here, without this bit, because once there's subs in there, I think that would look enough. So that is what it looks like from the front, and that is what it looks like from the back. I'm still undecided of whether to put gussets in the middle of that, but I think I might just smooth the welds down so it just looks like one cross. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it like that for now, at least, anyway. It looks pretty enough. Both parallel, and yeah. I don't know whether it was part of bashing my head yesterday that has made me change my mind with the cage as it is. But my next plan of action is, I think I'm going to make a spit for it to be able to get underneath all the underside, and basically wire wheel off all the old rubbery stuff like this in the arches by there, because I've decided I'm going to pretty much do the underside as concourse. I found someone who does sandblasting and powder coating, so bits and bobs like the subframes and wishbones and stuff like that will be sent off to him once all the back ends all off as well. And then while that's being done, I'll be attacking the underneath and painting the underneath of it body colour. So stone chipping it to protect it all again. Seam sealing any gaps that need to be seam sealed, original bits like. And yeah, so that will be in the next video most probably. So thank you for watching. My mind is, I don't know, I think I'm still in a bit of a donkey brain bit. Thank you for watching me build my roll cage. And please subscribe to watch more progress on the Escort Quartzworth. Thank you guys. Bye.